Hello, y'all. Hopefully, your Sunday is beginning on a great note. However, this video is going to be about red flags, how to navigate building new relationships with people. And when I say relationships, I don't necessarily mean dating. A lot of times we focus so much on dating that we don't look at things simple. Okay, when you meet new people or the people that are already in your life, whether it be family, friends, neighbors, and things like that, those are relationships. Okay, so this is what I have to say. Okay, because as you recover from having toxic people in your life, no matter what degree they were in your life. It could be someone you just dealt with every so often. Toxic is toxic. So the hardest thing will be when there's gaslighting involved, when it comes to people that are already in your life. And when I say gaslighting, a lot of times people are not purposely doing it. I'm going to call it gaslighting because it's a form of playing with your reality, but unintentionally. Kind of like putting a little doubt or putting a little doubt in your element that you're doing things the wrong way. However, never ignore your intuition and your feelings, right? So, red flags. I mean, red flags are red flags, but this is the best thing I'm going to suggest. If you are truly focused on your environment, and what your wants and needs are, it will be very hard for a narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath to manipulate you. So I will give you a prime example. You're at home, you're on your phone, you're speaking on the phone to someone that you have known a very long time, okay? And you're on this phone call. This person even reached out and said that, they cracked a joke that they hadn't heard from you in a few days. Just a joke, okay? And you say, no, I've been getting some extra rest or whatever, which is the truth. You had some appointments, you were getting some rest, and you also acknowledge that this other person has things to do. See, sometimes when I don't reach out, it's not because I don't want to talk. It's just that I acknowledge you got other stuff to do other than talk to me. So if you talk to me a few hours over a week period, I'll kind of shut it down because I want you to get your stuff done. See, I'm not the type of person where I want to hog people's lives like I'm the only one that's in it. I understand that people have kids, they have religious events that they go to, they have grandchildren. They just got other stuff to do other than just talk to me. So that's the way I do things. I try to let people get their stuff done. And then when they've accomplished some things or got some stuff done, we can proceed and talk once again, especially people that have been in your life a long time. However, you're going to have new relationships and people that are interested in new relationships with you in your life, whether it be a coworker that wants to hang out and things like that. So if you're focused on your environment, these narcissistic people just can't get in. Oh my goodness, this alarm went off. Hold on one second, y'all. I'm so sorry. I had actually cut the phone down too, but I had no clue that the alarm was set for this time. So hold on one second, okay? And this will be a perfect example. I will bring this up too. I'm glad this alarm went off. You know why? It proves this. Sometimes, no matter how hard you try to be organized, and you just try, I cut the other device down, I cut my phone down, and still I did not realize that the alarm was set. Okay, so why the alarm was set at this time, I have no clue. However, you can try your best to make things as organized as possible. However, things will still happen. So, okay, as I was saying earlier, okay, the example I used was you're on a phone call, and this person has already said, I hadn't heard from you in a few days or whatever, and you're just, you're happy to hear from them or whatever, right? So then you have a relative at home that is back at home or is in the home for that particular day or that time. So you have a family member or friend that's at your place, okay, and you have this individual on the phone. Both people you've known a very long time. So this is where the game gets kind of accelerated here, y'all, because people that are narcissistic, they just playing games. So suddenly you get this call and it's already dark out, y'all. Pay attention to people that are new in your life, and they oftentimes want to go out at night, okay? Or when it's dark. I mean, people that don't respect your time, like doing spontaneous stuff, that's fine if you like doing that. But what you're doing when you give that place to someone new, you're feeling their form of entitlement. Like, see, people feel entitled. Like, okay, I can just call you, it's dark out. I just met you. You want to go to a movie, or you want to go to have a walk or take a walk, or would you like to go out to eat? Also, be careful of people that are zoned in to only taking you to one location, right? So they're stuck on, you gotta go to eat with me at this particular restaurant. You have to go. They'll only mention this one location. They only want you to go with them to the grocery store. That's the location they want to meet you at, is the grocery store. And that could be because they want to groom you into paying for their groceries. So now you're at the grocery store and they're saying, I'm a little short. I just checked my card and I'm a little short. Can you buy those apples or oranges for me? So, I'm not trying to teach y'all to be overly paranoid, right? But at the end of the day, be mindful of patterns. So, what I try to do is I zone in on myself, my priorities, and the priorities should be the people that are at your residence, okay? Family, friends, long term people that you are on the phone with, right? And if you're more conscious of what your priorities are, you won't be so pulled in by this toxicity. Because, see, what happens is if you go back to your many years or however many years it was and you went through narcissistic abuse by a sociopath, a psychopath, whatever their cluster B personality was, whether they had depression, whatever their issue was, because sometimes they have other issues going on. There was always the beginning of the relationship. So remember, Dr. Phil used to say, you teach people how to treat you. That was one of his life lessons or life laws. You teach people how to treat you. So, you haven't heard from this person. You've only known them a month or two, and they're randomly calling you, asking you to go to this one particular place. And this one particular place they've already mentioned before. Okay, so that's a red flag too, because your mind should think, why is it just so that they just want me at this place? I mean, what about other places? And see, sometimes when you're telling people, you could even be telling the person on the phone what's going on, and then they try to give you positive advice or healthy advice. Like, well, people like to do things spontaneously, but you got to keep this in mind. When you start elevating the different levels, whether it be you start your own business, you start uploading videos on YouTube, whatever you're doing, you start being more healthier, taking walks, you're taking care of your elderly parents, whatever it is, you're advanced now. You're advancing. Just like here, this is advanced insight. You're advancing, right? So for me, my YouTube channel makes me more conscious because I can't be uploading videos and then I'm not conscious of new people that's trying to manipulate me. Because my position here and what I would like to do here is to help people not be manipulated. So the best way that I can do that is for me to be someone that's not easily manipulated, cannot be manipulated, and is not a supply source for these narcissists. Okay? So at the end of the day, you gotta pay attention to people's moods. And I'm gonna tell you another reason why you need to think this way, whether you be male or female. We live in a very dangerous world. Okay? So I just pay attention and I'm very observant of things that people say and do. And your antennas should be up when it's new people. I mean, so this is the what I do. I do things. This is what I did. This situation actually happened to me, right? I was on this phone call. I had people in my house. I was waiting on someone to return. I already had a relative here, waiting on another relative to return. My great friend is on the phone. I'm cleaning. I'm washing. I'm not also, I'm hanging around the house. I mean, I'm just chilling in the house. I got on my sweatpants type stuff hanging around. You know, I'm just chilling. I got on my like workout clothes basically. But I'm cleaned up, but I'm not in a position where I'm gonna go out to a movie or anything like that. And you got to remember this. Okay, think about it this way. When somebody invites you short notice, and you might think this is old school, and this might piss some of y'all off, but I'm going to go back to old school. I'm going to be honest with you. And this is why you have so many problems with these narcissists, because we forget the old-fashioned way. And because we forget the old-fashioned way, you get tied in. Remember, narcissists like to do things in isolation, right? So when a narcissist or someone that's narcissistic or a potential narcissist, we'll say potential, when a potential narcissist calls you, and this is someone new, and they invite you somewhere, just you might not want to look at it like this, but you're already beginning the process of isolation, whether you be male or female. And I'm going to tell you why. If you go back to the old-fashioned way, like I said, you might not like this. When a man or woman just met you and they wanted to get in good with you, this is what had to happen. They came in your home and met your family. And guess what? After that happened, when y'all wanted to go to the park, oh, well, I want to take you to the park. Everybody in the house packed their stuff up, and it ends up being a bunch of y'all at the park. Or at least 2 to 3 of y'all at the park. And see, we don't do things the old-fashioned way. You don't consider it rude when somebody wants to hang out with you and they know that you got your grandkids at the house, you got your children, you got your cousins, you got your friends, you got your elders at the house that are still able to walk and go out and do things also. We don't no longer consider it rude when they don't invite your family. You got teenage issues going on. This teenager in your house could use that male or female role model, but they never get that because the people that come into your life are narcissists and they only interested in you and not your family. And that is a red flag. I tend to deal with people that when they invite me, they invite everybody in the house. But see, the thing is, to get that outcome, you need to start dealing with people that have a religion and that are obedient to the Lord. They got something else that they're representing or looking up to other than just themselves and them being a psychopath, sociopath, or a narcissist. And that's why we have so much trouble, because you thinking, oh, well, this person just called me at short notice and invited me out. Oh, they're spontaneous. No, they're a manipulator. And what they're doing is taking you away from your priorities. And your priorities are who in that house. So then next thing you know, you're out with this person and not focused on what you should be. And then your teenagers, your little cousins, they all out in the streets doing bad stuff or getting into trouble while you out with this narcissist. Deal with people that's more empathetic. We need to start getting some of these old-fashioned values back, where it should be a red flag if they don't invite other people. And then you could say this, okay, some people are going to justify it like this. Well, I want to get to know the person first. Once I get to know him or her for 6 or 9 months, then the family could come. Nope, that's not going to happen that way. And I'm going to tell you why. Now you've sold this person a dream. Now y'all in a delusion because you guys are carrying, or you two, not you guys, you two are carrying on a relationship as if your family members, close friends, and your elders that you're taking care of don't exist. So see, if I have children, right, and I'm going out with this man, and I say, well, okay, I'm going to get to know him for 6 or 9 months, and it's just going to be me and him. And then when it's time to include the children, he doesn't want to be bothered because I've already sold him a delusion, along with the fact the only reason he was able to do that and not even mention my kids is because he's a narcissist. He's not concerned. He's not empathetic. He's not concerned about the well-being of your children. Because empathetic people, we're concerned about all children, not just our own. We understand that our priority is our own children, but we're concerned about all children in general. We don't want nothing bad to happen to none of them. Especially a child that's not dangerous. It's not a dangerous teenager. This is not someone that's ever threatened you and things like that. This is just a regular child, youth or teenager, or even young adult. But the way I did it, this situation actually happened to me, where it was an associate. Hey, you want to go to this particular place? This particular gentleman always zones in on this one place. And the reason that happened, y'all, you got to listen to what people say when they're honest with you. This gentleman told me he used to be a player. Okay? And you got to remember this. There's going to be narcissistic traits in all players. Okay? Also, keep this in mind. When someone tells you that, whether they be a female that tells you, I used to be a chronic cheater and they're a female, or it's a man that tells you he used to be a player, what they're saying to you is this: I'm somebody that has lied before. I tell lies to get what I want. That is part of that game of being a player. I will manipulate and make things look different. I'm on my exercise bike, y'all, too. So if you hear any little sound in the background, I am on my bike. I don't know if I mentioned that. Y'all know I'm usually on my bike, but I encourage you to, while you tuning in and listening, get you like an iHome speaker. I have a little iHome speaker that I paid $50 for, and I connect that with my Bluetooth on my device, and I listen to YouTube videos also. And so you can do the same thing. So anyway, um, I'm loving it. You know, I'm talking, I'm on my bike, I'm looking forward to the rest of my day, going to the hot tub and things like that. So I just cannot wait till the day ends so I can have so many things that I've done. So, and with people, you know, I will be with my family also. So this is the thing, y'all. Going back to what I was saying, you got to start looking at it differently, because when somebody tells you, okay, they used to be a player and they're a male, or she says, I used to be a chronic cheater, she's saying the same thing, just in so many words, that she used to be a player too, but she might not word it in that way. You got to remember, they're giving you a heads up. And remember, they have habits and they have a way that they do things. Okay, so this gentleman told me that. So when he called me wanting to know if I wanted to go to this particular place with him, and he wanted me to go right then. I mean, it was already late. I had no time to get prettied up, get dressed, or anything like that. I mean, just a total disregard for my time. Not inviting, because this was a particular place. You got to look at it this way: when they're inviting you somewhere that the other family members can go to. So if he or she is inviting you out to eat and to a movie, that's something everybody could go to. And I'm not saying they should pay for the people. Okay, but they should be invited out. When you first meet people, you should be paying for your own stuff anyway. So if myself and my relative went, I could pay for my relative, but at the same time, this person should at least invite the whole family. That's just how I feel. And I feel like if you start going back to those old fashioned values and bring those in your new relationships and make that a standard, maybe you'll repel narcissists. Maybe they won't want to be around you, because remember, those narcissists want to have you in their eyesight, and they want to get what they want from you. And if you let these people know, oh yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I'll go, but Johnny gotta go too. Mandy gotta go too. Do you mind if I got Mandy and Johnny here? Can they go? Whether they're your friends or relatives or whatever, you know, implement the family in it, because that's how the old-fashioned values were. And because we're steering away from that, that is why we have the problems with these narcissists. And then you wonder later, well, he doesn't want me to speak to my own son or daughter. Well, you began the relationship like that when you allowed this person to hang out with you for 2 years without bringing your children, because you're thinking, well, okay, I want my children to be around somebody safe. If you feel like they're safe enough to go around, then they should be safe enough for your children to go around. Don't hang around people that you feel or have an energy of an unsafe feeling. Because if they're in your life, they should be able to come in your friends and family's life also. And you don't have to be knowing them 10 years for that to happen, y'all. So the way I dealt with that situation, because I'm accountable to the personal things that I do in my life, whether I'm uploading YouTube videos or whatever, whether I am trying to mentor other people, my children and friends, or whomever in my life, along with, I still get advice from people. I mean, I have great counsel in my life. And when I say counsel, I don't mean seeing a therapist. I mean, like the Bible says it, respect your counsel. The people that got good intentions and want the best for you, and help other people. Like the individual said that I was on the phone with, her advice was, it's good to do things spontaneous. Yes, it is. But it's not always good to do things spontaneous with newcomers. And the reason it's not good is because they're showing a sense of entitlement, and they're not respecting your time and your schedule and what you're already doing at that moment. They're not even respecting the fact, okay, they might have took 2 hours to get themselves all handsome or pretty. You don't have the time to do that because they want you to go now. You don't have time to get your favorite dress or suit ready. And so I opted out because I don't want to deal with that no more. I'm not going into no more relationships or situations seeing these things and not recognizing and just driving forward with it. I'm going to park. I'm going to put that car in park from now on. And then you got to let people know, you got plans. And like I said, go back to that old-fashioned value, or those old-fashioned values where it's more like, okay, we all going. Because see, that's how I am. Like if I meet you and I know that you got people at your home, your grandkids and stuff. So say, for example, you're a grandfather or you're an uncle or aunt, and you got your nieces and nephews there, right? Or even your little cousins. For one, I would show respect towards you and plan something. But if it is spontaneous, y'all want to come. Because remember, that's a strong empathetic trait. That ability that we have to include others. Y'all want to come. That's what we do. Especially when we are bringing new people in our lives, we want to show people that, I know you take care of your sick mom or dad, and I understand he's on a cane, but he likes to get out. Bring him or her too. And so when you see the opposite is being done, just beware. And remember, like I said earlier, Dr. Phil, one of his life laws or life lessons was we teach people how to treat us. So what did I teach that person? I taught that person that I'm not a last minute person. And you got to remember this too. See, this is another thing that y'all don't want to recognize, right? Y'all don't want to recognize how somebody that used to be what they call a player, I don't care if they 90 years old, whether they male or female, you don't want to recognize how they juggle people. Now, I'm going to tell you another benefit of not allowing people to call you at the last minute to do stuff, especially when they already have a location in mind. Remember, this particular person already had a location for me to go to that this particular person stays zoned in on. Okay? It's always got to be this one location. Okay? But this is the thing with, okay, let me figure out how to word this. Oh, okay, this is a thing. I'm going to word it like this. We underestimate how people can lie. And the benefit of not allowing someone to do that is this, because guess what? That particular location that person was already at wanting me to go to, he was already ready or just about there at that location that he wanted me to go to. You ever thought about this? He had already told somebody and planned that particular date with somebody else. See, when they're calling you at the last minute asking you to go, a lot of times, whether they be male or female, they've been stood up by somebody else. So it's been somebody that they've already planned that date with a week to 2 weeks in advance. And they got all dressed up to meet this person at this date. And the person that they originally invited did a no call, no show, and stood them up. So they're standing there at this location or getting ready to go to this location, knowing ahead of time that they've been stood up. Okay, so how do you handle things when you've been stood up? Me, I just go on and find something else to do. I don't necessarily get on the phone to try to invite other people to replace this person. Okay, I was stood up by this particular person. And I don't have to be in a power of control position. Okay, they didn't show up. I can go do something else. But see, a narcissist, they feel like they've been taken down a peg or two. So when this person didn't show up to this date and they were stood up, this narcissist is thinking, oh, hell no. Somebody's coming on this date with me because I've gotten all dressed up and I'm a manipulator. So I'm going to manipulate somebody else to come out with me. And somebody coming out to this freaking movie, restaurant, ballpark, wherever this narcissist is at, the narcissist is unable just to let the shit go and say, well, okay, fuck it. They didn't come. Let me get somebody else to come. Or no, fuck it. They didn't come. Let me just go on and go home and work on my to-do list. Because the narcissist has to have the supply. So remember that. When people call you and ask you to do stuff at the last minute, one of the ways that you can, and like I said, they're newcomers in your life, you would hope that the empathetic people that are already in your life, if they called you at the last minute, they're just being spontaneous. They're not trying to get you to fill some shoes of somebody else that didn't show up. Or they may be honest enough to tell you, like, you know, I was waiting on such and such to hang out with me. That person didn't come and I like you and love you. Would you like to come out and I'll pay for it? You know, that's different if the person tells you what's happening. But the narcissist is not going to tell you that somebody skipped out on them and didn't show up. And I'm calling you to see if your dumb ass want to come. Because basically that's how they think. So remember, there's benefits to saying no. And one of the great benefits is you don't get played and you're not in a second or third place position for somebody that canceled out on their ass. And this applies to male and females that's listening to this. Okay? Females in today's world, in 2022, they act like men. They're just as manipulative, if sometimes not more manipulative than these men. Because unfortunately, the ladylike behavior has faded away because they've dealt with so many narcissistic men in their life. So they start behaving like these men. Same way with men. for a lot of men that were raised by narcissistic females, they start acting like those toxic females. So this advice goes for both. So don't be so quick to fill the shoes of someone else that canceled out. Because remember that narcissist and that sociopath or that psychopath is not going to tell you the truth. They're just going to make it seem like, just like that person did, they're going to make it seem like, well, oh, I just want to hang out on short notice. I'm bored or whatever. Sometimes they'll say that they're bored or just act bored, because remember that narcissist is always bored and they find it very hard to just be bored within their own element and find something to do. Okay. And as I upload these videos, I get hoovered, y'all. And a hoover can come from anybody. It doesn't have to be someone that you have been intimate with. But at the end of the day, these narcissists are getting lonely, y'all, and they hoovering because it's too much information out here and people is not going for they bull crap like they used to. They getting lonely, y'all. They getting older. They getting lonely. So be careful with these narcissists, whether they male or female. I don't care if it's that female narcissist. Just because I'm a female doesn't mean that I want men that are empathic to be tortured by these women. And I definitely, for women, I don't want you tortured emotionally by these male narcissists. They ain't out here trying to help nobody, whether it be getting a YouTube channel to help somebody. For one, they ain't got nothing to say. What they gonna tell you? Unless they telling you how to keep being a player, how to keep not being family oriented, how to keep being rude to people, how to keep having angry outbursts when you're not getting your way, how to keep getting new supply to fall for their bull crap. Stuff like that. And I apologize. I know some people attend religious organizations on Sundays, so I apologize for using the profanity. But when I get into my messages, I get into my messages. And I'm just to the point where I'm fed up for what happens to me and others. And I've been on this bike the whole time, y'all. I'm 37 minutes into this video. And so just be aware. So the bottom line is this. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. Stop giving a fuck about strangers. Okay? Stop caring so much about strangers, because these strangers are going to be the new narcissists and sociopaths and psychopaths that are going to be coming into your life, ruining the rest of your life. Stop caring. Focus on the people that have been dedicated to you and you have been dedicated to them, and zone in on that. Zone in on what you're doing at home. Not being disrupted and interrupted by some bored ass narcissist that's already ran a bunch of people out of his or her life. Quit giving a fuck, because they don't give a fuck about you. And I'm proud of myself. I learned so much from the sister that I was on the phone with, the brother that was in my house, which was my relative, that took his power nap. And a power nap is so cool. This is a computer guy. My relative is a computer guy, and he took that power nap, and it put this peaceful element in the house. I don't know. It's kind of like angels are sleeping. Something like that. It just had this peaceful element. I got that phone call. Earlier that day, I had been hoovered by someone that's narcissistic at times. I'm not going to call that person a narcissist, y'all. And the reason I'm not going to do it in that particular case is because that particular person that hoovered me can be narcissistic at times, but does have empathy. I know that for sure because of the long time that I've known the person. However, I wasn't falling for that neither. I'm not falling for someone that's narcissistic, that's bored, because they ran a lot of people off too. Yeah, they got some level of empathy, but they don't have enough of it to keep the amount of people that they would like to keep around. And remember, that's the difference between me and you, or me and you and them, should I say. The difference is they have to have the numbers, they have to have the people, but then again, they have to screw people over. So see, 1 plus 1 for them don't add up to 2 because they have to have the people, but they don't understand that it's a requirement to treat people better, to keep them around, or to keep engaging with them or interacting with them or conversing with them, however way you want to word it. They don't have that ability. So spiritually, my night ended very peaceful. And I'm going to tell you why. A narcissist did not disrupt my schedule yesterday. And see, you think a schedule got to be, oh, you're hanging out. No. When you at home washing your clothes and you updating your to-do list, you're sorting through some paperwork, trying to get things organized to the best of your ability, waiting on friends and family members to come visit you, waiting on people to get home from jobs and things like that. You got a schedule going on. You just don't always recognize it as a schedule. You in the kitchen cooking up a little meal for yourself or people in the house, things like that. You got a schedule. And so, like I said, I went to bed peacefully because those hoovers just didn't work. It just didn't work. It's not my fault that you bored out of your mind because you done ran off people. And keep this in mind. These narcissists that be bored, and y'all can attest to this. You was the same one trying to get them out the house for the last 10 years. You done called this narcissist from 1960 to 1970 to try to get him or her to come out and hang out. But no, that narcissist kept saying, no, I don't want to go. And one reason they didn't want to go is because they had too many supplies and they didn't have time for you. And the supplies are the people that they're around. So they looked at you like you was a lonely freakazoid that didn't have nothing to do. So from 1960 to 1970, while they rejecting you because they got too many people around, they talking about you like this. Well, she or he is bored. I don't know why they calling me to hang out. But then many, many years later, when you got enough going on in your life that you can handle, and you never struggled with having people in your life, and you don't require as many people as that narcissist, to be honest. They just can't stand to sit by themselves and work on a to-do list. That's hard. They can't figure out nothing else to do when they're bored. So then they want to come in because you were their last resort. You were the last one on their list. Okay? Last on their list. And when I say last, you need to recognize you were last. But then when all their supply sources done left them, or they done discarded them, or some of them done got married, moved out of town, because people's situations change. And the narcissist doesn't look at that. They don't realize that by 2022, they gonna be done lost these people. So here they go calling old reliable. And old reliable is you. And when I say old reliable, you ain't gotta be old. You could be 25. It's just a figure of speech. Old reliable is they know that they gonna be able to call you and you're going to go hang out with them and do something with their tired butts. And that's what you need to stop doing, because you're being used. They didn't care nothing about you when you was begging them to go out and you was alone and by yourself at times where you might have been sad because your mom or dad had just died. Where was they at? No, they didn't want to hang out with you because they looked at you like, nah, I'm not going to hang out with her. Her mom or dad just died, or his mom and dad just died, and I ain't got time for that grieving stuff, because that's how they talk about you behind your back. No, she or he might start crying on me. I ain't hanging out. And so this is the same person that's sitting up rotting on their couch by themselves and then want somebody to break what they doing to hang out with their tired butts. No, stop doing that. And I'm still on this bike, y'all, and I'm gonna end this video. This video was a little longer, but I really got into the momentum and the feeling from my soul. I just do not like to see people manipulated, and I'm just trying to show you also that when I upload these videos and when I try to teach and help people and try to better myself on my pathway in this one life that I'm going to live on earth, I get tested too. And I'm telling you, it does not feel bad to say no. When that person called me and had a sense of entitlement and wanted to hang out with me at short notice and didn't care about what I had going on, because